Kate, Patty, Spurs at the weekend. Last kick of the game. Kept yourselves in the title hunt. You did. You're there. You're in a title race until you're not. I believe in what LB said. I think LB got it spot on. You're in a title race until you're not. Patty, it was a weird game. It was a weird game. There was moments where you looked awful. There's moments where you looked brilliant, but you came up trumps again. Another big win and more confidence seeping through your veins.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because obviously I was on it last week and I got a bit annoyed because I felt like the panel was disrespecting us when they were saying that we'd be quite fortunate to get a draw, get something out of it. And they were kind of like gaslighting me to like we was like, I don't know, Nottingham Forest or even, dare I say, I don't know, just one of the rubbisher teams in the league. No, United have turned the corner. I don't want to get too, I mean, I think, you know, like United over the last couple of games have looked good. And it's quite funny because obviously now they're saying, you know, Neville on the analysis last night was saying that he thinks Spurs fans would have rather United win that game. Sorry, Aston Villa win the game than United. And I was like, oh, that don't make sense. For me, Villa are the better team, so I would have rather United win because it kept us fourth and obviously keeps Villa at bay. Villa was still a good team, even though they're going through a bit of a slump. With United, we're yet to see how many games they can go on a run. Villa have been good all season up until the last couple of weeks. So yeah, but going back to Spurs, Brighton are a weird team. Like I was saying the other day, they can be good at moments, they can be awful at moments. I thought they looked really good in the middle of the park. They bopped us off the park in the middle of the park in terms of the way they were moving the ball, the triangles, and they got into good spaces. But then they didn't really take the opportunities. Where we looked quite sloppy. Like Sarr wasn't really at it. Kulusevski was a bit shaky to begin with. Yeah, we just didn't retain the ball well. We didn't move the ball around. But then, obviously, we created better chances than Brighton. And essentially, we took our chances. That was it. The good thing about us now is that we actually have strength in depth. Like, things weren't working, and we brought on Basuma, we brought on Son, and we brought on Brennan Johnson. And obviously, Son and Brennan Johnson linked up for the goal in the dying, seconds of the game. Yeah, it was a weird game. It wasn't one of our finest moments, but to be fair, I saw people say that we were lucky to win. I don't believe that. When you look at how the game panned out and all the stats, I think Spurs were the better team, but it wasn't vintage football. I wouldn't say it was vintage football, but in terms of like we bettered them pretty much in every metric. If you're a stats person, our XG was 1.65 to their 1.24, and I think like 0.79 or 0.8 of that for them was because they had a penalty. We had 6 shots on target to their 3 shots on target. We forced them into more saves. Their keeper made 4 saves. Our keeper made 2. Lots more corners. Basically, yeah, we controlled the game in that sense. But if you don't look at stats and just watch the game, I do think that they were better in terms of build-up play, moving the ball around in the middle of the park. But they just didn't really create the chances to obviously win the game. So, yeah, all in all, it pretty much went how I thought it would go. I said that we'd win the game, and we did. But I do need to see us be a bit more clinical, a bit more ruthless. It seemed like we did lose a bit of control as well at times. And, and always conceding as well. That's my pet peeve at the moment. We concede in every game. When's the last time we kept a clean sheet, Kate? I honestly can't remember. Those kind of things we need to, it's all well and good, like battling for top 4. But if you want to grow and continue to progress, we need to keep clean sheets. Arsenal keep clean sheets. Ooh. City keep sheets. Liverpool keep clean sheets. When's the last time we kept a clean sheet? I honestly can't remember.
Nottingham Forest, 15th of December.
There you go. That's a long time ago.
2 months.
Yeah,
2 months.
Way too long for a team. If you consider yourself a top team, that's not good enough. Mickey van der Ven and Romero are back, so I need to see a bit more from that side. And that's the thing. We talk about young players. We were saying Kaz was making a joke about the Chelsea guys, and obviously Don in the chat. He does love to gas up a young player and a Chelsea player. But with young players, you get inconsistency. And Destiny Udogie, for how good he is, he does have lapses in concentration, and he has lapses on the ball, and and stuff like that. And that's what you're going to get with young players. And we do obviously have a few sprinkled in the team, so you do get that. But yeah, all in all, Terry, good result. Obviously keeps us in the mix. I would have been fuming if we did drop points at Brighton or to Brighton. But yeah, I need better. I need to see more from the team. But it's, at the end of the day, you're not going to be great in every game. I do get that. But when's the last time you kept a clean sheet? Thanks, Kaz answered that. I just need to see a bit more a bit more ruthlessness and a bit of better play. Because Tottenham haven't really been electrical at it for a while now. So I need to see. It's all well and good winning games, but I want to see a bit more.
Apparently, you've kept 5 clean sheets all season. It's not that.
Exactly. The league this year, Kaz, like a lot of teams haven't really been key. Like a couple of years ago, the defenses were a lot more meaner. I think Arsenal kept the most clean sheets this year, and even for them,
9. I think.
Yeah, and that's not a lot considering we played like 24 games. Do you know what I mean? So, as a collective, as a whole, Premier League teams aren't keeping as many clean sheets as they used to, which may be a sign that defenses are getting worse or the league's getting more competitive. But for us, we're not keeping enough. We need to be keeping more against teams like Brighton and Wolves at home. We've got Wolves up next. I want to see clean sheets, man.
Kate, how do you see it? Is there more to come from this Tottenham team in your opinion, or do you think you're sort of leveled out where you're going to be this season? Like, what did you make of it? Did you feel lucky with the result?
Yeah, I did. I don't think, even when we were top of the league at the start of the season, I don't think we've played particularly well all season. I think we've had moments where we've looked brilliant, and we've had moments where we've gone, wow, I can see what Angie's trying to do. But generally, I don't actually think we've played all that well. I think what showed on Saturday was we've missed Sarr. Although he was sloppy at times, he solidifies our midfield massively, gets all over the place. And Sonny brings something to our team, not just because he's a goal scorer. He brings a different energy. He seems to hype up the crowd. He brings the leadership that I didn't think he actually had in him to the team. So I don't see us doing much this year. We're far ahead of where I thought we'd be. I thought we'd finish 7th. If we get anything above 7th, it's going to be better than I thought for the first season under Ange. We've been unlucky. I know everyone's had injuries, but this weekend was the first time we've had all our team back pretty much. It's going to take a while, I think, for them all to get back gelled to each other. But yeah, I did feel lucky. I mean, there's nothing worse than losing in the last minute, but there's nothing better than winning in the last minute. And it was nice to be on the good end of that for a change. And Brennan Johnson, I mean, I don't rate him at all, but proved that he needs to be used as a sub. He shouldn't ever be started. Come on. He came on and made an impact. And, if he can do that, then great. But I just can't understand where £47.5 million come from that kid. I just...
You know what, Kate? With the Brennan Johnson thing, I do honestly feel that, yeah, we would have started him in some games, but I honestly feel he would have been exactly what he was at Impact sub. But with all the injuries we've had to play him and overplay him and overplay him. You got to remember as well, the kid's only had... This is his second season in the Premier League. So the first season, obviously, was when Nottingham Forest got promoted last year. So this is only his second full season and his first move. So there's been a lot going on. And it's a bit of a shame that some of our fans have been a bit over the top with him. But I understand the frustration. When you see 50 million and you see what he's been doing in some of the games, you are going to be frustrated. But I do think context needs to be added with what I just said in terms of second full season, first at Spurs. And I feel he's been overused because of, obviously, like you said earlier, Kate, the injury crisis that we've been through. Mm-hmm. But yeah, coming off the bench in moments like that, I thought he was brilliant. And like you said, Son, just the quality of that final ball is what we was missing for the last couple of weeks. And it's good to see them back, man. Now we just need to go on a run, like you said. Hope they all click and just fingers crossed there's no more injuries.
It's concerning that, sorry, Terry, that it's Bentancur and Maddison both don't look fit to me, and they're both playing and neither of them look like they're fit, in my opinion. But like I say, I mean, we're literally at the start of something where I can see which way we're going. I can see a positive in where we're going. I mean, compared to Conte ball last year. But it is only the beginning. But I think a lot of people got really hyped and over carried away because we were sat top of the league for 10 games. And this is why I sort of said you've got to stay level, because it was never going to be sustainable with the squad that we've got. But it's all positive as far as I'm concerned. I think Angie's doing a great job. And next year, the pressure will be on him a little bit more to see where we can go. Yeah,
I mean, Rory, Kate said that Spurs haven't really played that well for the majority of the season. They've had moments. Would you agree with that? I mean, there's been a lot of praise in the media about the way Spurs play. It's a breath of fresh air. It's entertaining. But do you agree with what Kate's saying? It's moments that have put them into fourth rather than their overarching style.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I do think that their style is enjoyable to watch. Definitely, if you're a neutral, it's good to watch. And I thought it was a good game against Brighton, and they were two pretty even-looking teams. But they are, like, I think their expected goals scored compared to expected goals against is like 3 or 4 or something. Like they are conceding almost as much opportunity as they're scoring. And if you then compare that to Arsenal, City, Liverpool at the top, there's a massive gulf there, and I think that's the difference. But once I do think that style and system probably needs a bit more balance. I do think that they do concede too much, but for now they're doing better than I think they probably thought they'd have done this season. The style of football's decent to watch. It can only get better. It's not bad.
I've had a message about you, Patrick. I've got to read it out. It says, "Here we go." It goes, "Here we go again." He said, "Tell Patrick Spurs scored a last-minute winner, so we were right to say that Brighton could get something out of the game."
Well, you weren't right because you didn't. So like, there you go. Did
I would say
yes
it
no?
was
So,
it was
No,
closer to being a score draw than it was to a convincing win, which is, I'm pretty sure you said it was going to be a convincing win. So
yeah, I did say it was going to be a convincing win, but we did win the game. So all of you guys that were talking shit on Thursday, shut up. That's it.
Actually, you ain't been convincing for a while though, but you still got the results. You know what I mean?
Mm.
The same thing we
No.
criticize loads of teams about. Like, you weren't convinced against Bournemouth, but you won. You weren't convinced against Everton, you drew. You weren't convinced against Man United. I thought we was going to get pummeled, and we didn't. What else was there? Am I missing? The Burnley game in the FA Cup. Wouldn't say that was a battering either, but you just get the job done. But you got your players back. There's not really any more excuses, in my opinion. Like, you got your 11. You're playing one game a week, so let's see.
I think it says a lot, I reckon, that Brighton came away to your place, and in the 96th minute, they were going for the win and got done on the counter. Like, they thought that they could go there and get the win. They didn't respect you enough to sit back and take the draw, which is naive in hindsight, but it could have gone the other way and they could have taken the win.
I disagree with that. I thought both managers kind of thought that they would get a draw. And to be fair, Brighton play that way against everyone or anyone. That's their style of football, regardless who they play against. So they were just doing what they did, and obviously they did get punished. But it's not like Brighton didn't respect. That's how they play.